Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the most chilling and perplexing true crime stories. Today, we explore the terrifying case of Larry Gene Bell, a murderer and suspected serial killer who left a trail of fear in Lexington County, South Carolina. This is a story of horror, heartbreak, and justice. Please note that the details discussed in this video may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Lexington County, South Carolina, known for its serene landscapes and close-knit communities, was shattered by a series of chilling events in the mid-1980s. At the center of this nightmare was Larry Gene Bell, a man whose actions would leave an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of many. On May 31, 1985, 17-year-old Shari Smith was abducted from the driveway of her family home in Lexington. Shari was a vibrant, talented young woman, just days away from graduating high school. She was known for her bright smile and kind heart, traits that endeared her to everyone who knew her. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, leading to an intense search effort by friends, family, and law enforcement. The search for Shari was extensive and immediate. Friends, family, and law enforcement scoured the area, hoping for any sign of the missing teenager. Volunteers combed through forests, fields, and every nook and cranny of Lexington County. Missing posters adorned every street corner, and the community held vigils, praying for Shari's safe return. But what they found instead were phone calls that would haunt Shari's family forever. Larry Gene Bell, the man behind the abduction, began a series of taunting phone calls to Shari's family. These calls were not just cruel, they were designed to inflict maximum psychological torment. Bell forced Shari to write a last will and testament, a heart-wrenching letter to her family, knowing she would never see them again.
Please, don't let this ruin your lives. Just keep living, one day at a time for Jesus. Some good will come out of this. My thoughts will always be with you and in you. I love you all so damn much. Sorry, Dad. I had to cuss for once. Jesus forgave me.
This letter, a blend of hope and despair, was a cruel reminder of the tragedy that had befallen the Smith family. On June 5, 1985, Shari's body was found in a wooded area in Saluda County. She had been suffocated, and the horror of her final days was now a painful reality for her grieving family. Larry Gene Bell, a former electrician with a history of mental instability, had a dark side that had remained hidden from the public eye. His familiarity with the Smith family and the precision of his actions suggested a calculated and cold-blooded killer. But what drove Bell to commit such heinous acts? This question puzzled investigators and psychologists alike. But the nightmare wasn't over. On June 14, 1985, 9-year-old Debra Helmick was abducted from her front yard in Richland County, South Carolina. Once again, Larry Gene Bell struck fear into the heart of another family. Debra, a sweet and innocent child, was playing outside when Bell snatched her, leaving her family devastated and the community in a state of panic. Debra's abduction was eerily similar to Shari's, and the community was on edge. The search for Debra was as intense and heartbreaking as the search for Shari had been. Volunteers and law enforcement worked tirelessly, hoping to bring Debra home safely. But Bell continued his cruel pattern of taunting phone calls, this time leading authorities to Debra's body in a remote area. She, too, had been suffocated. Larry Gene Bell was finally captured after a meticulous investigation led by law enforcement. His capture was the result of relentless police work, including tracking phone calls, analyzing clues, and following leads that pointed directly to Bell. His familiarity with the Smith family and the cruel precision of his actions suggested a calculated and cold-blooded killer. In 1986, Bell stood trial for the murders of Shari Smith and Debra Helmick. The evidence against him was overwhelming, including his voice on the recorded phone calls and physical evidence linking him to the crimes. The courtroom was packed with reporters, family members, and community members eager to see justice served. The trial was a media sensation, and every detail was scrutinized by the public. During the trial, the prosecution presented a compelling case. They detailed Bell's cruel manipulation of his victims and their families, his cold-blooded planning, and his lack of remorse. The defense attempted to argue that Bell was mentally ill and incapable of understanding his actions, but the jury was not convinced. The jury took little time to convict him, and he was sentenced to death. Larry Gene Bell was electrocuted on October 4, 1996, bringing an end to his reign of terror. His execution was a relief for the families of his victims and the community, but the scars of his actions remain. The death penalty is a contentious issue, but in this case, it brought a sense of closure to those who had suffered so much. The lives of Shari Smith and Debra Mae Helmick were tragically cut short by a man whose cruelty knew no bounds. Their memories live on through their families, who have shown incredible strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable loss. Shari and Debra are remembered not just for the tragedy that befell them, but for the joy and love they brought to their families and friends.
How do you remember Shari and Debra?
Shari was such a bright light. She was always smiling, always kind. It's hard to believe she's gone. Debra was just a child. She had her whole life ahead of her. It's devastating that she never got to grow up.
As we remember Shari and Debra, let us also honor the bravery of those who fought for justice. This story is a stark reminder of the evil that can exist in our world, but also of the enduring power of love and community. The strength shown by the families of Shari and Debra is a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome even the darkest of times. The impact of Larry Gene Bell's crimes extended beyond the immediate families of his victims. The entire community of Lexington County was affected. The fear and uncertainty that gripped the area during the time of the abductions changed the way people viewed their safety. Parents became more vigilant, and the sense of security that once existed was shattered. In the aftermath of these tragic events, law enforcement agencies in South Carolina and across the country reviewed and improved their methods for handling abduction cases. The importance of rapid response, community involvement, and interagency cooperation was underscored by the experiences of the Shari Smith and Debra Mae Helmick cases. These improvements have helped to protect countless lives in the years since. As we conclude this harrowing tale, we ask our viewers to take a moment to reflect on the importance of community and vigilance. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone is in danger, remember the stories of Shari and Debra and do everything you can to help. Their lives, though tragically cut short, serve as a powerful reminder of the impact one person can have on the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of South Carolina's most harrowing true crime cases. If you found this video compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Stay safe and take care.